Paramahamsa Nithyananda, a rare living incarnation, is named among the world's 100 most spiritually influential personalities today. Paramahamsa Nithyananda has been placed alongside Dalai Lama, Nelson Mandela, Oprah Winfrey, Paulo Coelho and others by Mind, Body, Spirit, the world's top esoteric magazine from Watkins, London's oldest and largest bookstore. A yogi by birth, he has been expressing his power of enlightenment since birth. He has authored more than 500 books in Tamil and English. Translations of these books are available in 26 languages in Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Hindi, Sanskrit, Gujarati, Oriya, Bengali, Marathi, French, Malay, Polish, Portuguese, Italian, German, Danish, Spanish, Russian and Chinese. He is also an exemplary speaker with over 10,000 hours of profound life solutions through his discourses. Social services such as Annadan, free medical care, free educational services with ashrams, schools, temples, hospitals established in more than 140 places around the world, offering exceptional services. A powerful spiritual healer who has healed millions of people of diseases from migraine to cancer. A Kriya Yogi who has formulated Kriyas for physical health and mental well-being, benefiting thousands. A living master who offers practical solutions for our everyday problems. He is the founder and spiritual head of Nithyananda Dhyanapeetham, a spiritual powerhouse who has revived the sacred Vedic tradition by establishing Vedic temples in places like Los Angeles, San Jose, Seattle, Toronto, Ohio, Oklahoma, Phoenix, St. Louis, Malaysia, Brazil, Paris, Guadeloupe, Dallas, New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, Calgary, Vancouver, Singapore and places in India like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Tiruvannamalai. A spiritual guru for 10 million followers, an incarnation who transmits the highest spiritual energy through initiation, a contemporary yogi who has revived the Vedic science of yoga worldwide through thousands of yoga centers, an adept in Ashtamaha-siddhis, mystical yogic powers, who has effortlessly awakened the Kundalini of thousands and graced them with spiritual powers, a dynamic young guru who is an inspiration for thousands of youngsters. India's most watched spiritual guru online, a beacon of spiritual light who has triumphed over the forces of religious terrorism and political persecution. Paramahamsa Nithyananda is an eternal Kalpataru, blessing the world with the boons of material abundance and spiritual enlightenment. He is the 293rd Pontiff of the world's most ancient Hindu organization, Madurai Adinam.
Nithyanandaya swagatam Anandanubhavaswadam Sarvaroga nivarakam Vande papa vinashaktam Nithyanandaya swagatam Nityamuktam nirvikalpam Dhyanaloka pradipakam Vande shantamayam bandham Nithyanandaya swagatam Anandagandha sancharam Sarvopadi vinirmuktam.
सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् ज्ञानसम्बन्धाचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्.
Basic quality of anything which survives is reproducing. Please understand. Anything which survives, basic quality of it, the basic quality of life is expansion. basic quality of life is reproduction. Not just man reproducing man or animals reproducing animals. Even a poet will always try to reproduce more poets. An engineer will try to reproduce more engineers. An enlightened being will try to reproduce more enlightened beings. Reproduction, expansion is the quality of life. It's the quality of life. Reproduction or the expansion is the basic quality of life. Then how it became problem in human civilization? Then it's a quality of life. Then how it became problem in human civilization? Human beings are the only beings where all natural things becomes a big problem. No, really. Because we lost living with the simple body. Understand? Very beautifully Tantra describes the lust, the evolution of sex. Between 0 to 7, human beings will enjoy their own body. You will see all the time kids will be putting their thumb in the mouth. They will take the leg and start sucking. You can see. They will put the leg, feet in the mouth. Means they are enjoying their own body. That's the first level of the sex. Enjoying your own body. Feeling comfortable with your own body. Settling with your own body. That's from 0 to 7. From 7 to 14, enjoying the friendliness, means the same sex, the friendship, enjoying the same sex body. That is a basic, anybody who grows naturally will enjoy the same body, the same sex. It's a natural instinct. You will naturally feel, you will not be able to take the jump directly to opposite sex. So naturally you will start enjoying the other body which is near the same sex, which is more or less almost you. So you start enjoying the same sex between 7 to 14. After 14 only you start enjoying, maybe I can say, the need for the opposite sex arises. Tantra very beautifully says, if a man goes through this whole process naturally, without getting into the mind, means without adding fantasies, just being physical, as I was telling today morning, just being physical, if he goes through between 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21, by 21, he will have that ultimate sex, means ecstasy with the whole cosmos. He will become brahmachari. The idea of the Vedic sex, or the idea of Tantra, I am describing very clearly. Between 0 to 7, enjoying your own body. Between 7 to 14, enjoying the same sex. And 14 to 21, enjoying the opposite sex. By 21, you will become brahmachari. You will be liberated. Of course, this does not happen anymore in the modern day. When we had Gurukul system, when we had the Vedic education, the man was liberated from the body by 21. 21 is ready. He is not bothered at all anymore by the body. Unfortunately, when the mind interfered, when the accumulation of the fantasy started, first thing, the kids are not allowed to be comfortable with their body. When you put your hand in the mouth, what parents do? First thing, take it out. And that suppression first starts. Then the next thing, only with human beings, mind plays a major role even in sex, which is a physical act. Even there, many people come and complain to me, Swamiji, the physical act itself is not that juicy, but the mental imagination or the fantasy looks so juicy, Swamiji. Means what? Most of your being is shifted. Most of your center is shifted to the mind. More cerebral. Your enjoyment has become more cerebral, not physical. Beautifully, the Zen says, if you drink 1 cup of tea, intensely enjoying it, you will be liberated from tea. If you smoke once, intensely living it, physically, you will be liberated from smoking. If you drink once, intensely, physically, you will be liberated from drinking. Same law. Any emotion, when it arises, only if your body moves, mind does not respond, you will be liberated from that emotion. Understand? This is the key. Let your body move with that emotion, not the mind. Let your mind not add something or delete something. The big problem is with the sex, you add so much, mind adds the whole thing to it. When it is not juicy, you pick up some magazine, some idea, something from media and try to add juice to it. Even though you know it is the same boring act. No, sometime after the middle age it is the same boring act. But you want to add juice to it. So you need fantasy. You need fantasy. You are adding fantasy to it just to add juice to the act. Then naturally, you are adding, like I can say, you are adding more fuel than your body can burn. So after that, what will happen naturally? That remaining fuel will continue to be there, constantly boiling your system. So adding fantasy is the first negative act done by the human being to destroy their sex life. Otherwise, which would have been a simple, pure, beautiful life. The basic disturbance done to your root chakra, Muladhara chakra, is constantly adding fantasy. I tell you, if you are just physical, when that emotion arises, just if you are in the act, without bringing your memory into the scene, sometime you add hatred. When you don't want the act, means you may not hate the act itself, but the bondages and after effects which that act brings. And the persons with whom you need to relate because of that act, person with whom you are bound because of that act. When you start hating all that, that hatred reflects on the act. The hatred also is a negative fantasy. Whether it is negative fantasy or positive fantasy, when the mind plays a role, the sex becomes lust. Sex becomes lust. Even the suppressed guy is filled with lust because he is afraid of the act. Not only act, he may not be exactly afraid of the act, the things related to act, the responsibility which comes with the act, the persons with whom you need to relate with because of the act. So naturally, all those fears lands up into suppression and it becomes lust. Whether you add positive fantasy or negative fantasy, you are disturbing your root chakra. So the basic click or the basic truth you need to know, physical sex is the quality of human being. Understand? It's the quality of human being. First thing, understand, just being physical without letting the memories into you, without engaging, entertaining the memories into you, then what will happen? You will come back to your normalcy. Then the meditation will do the job of transforming, if you need to transform at all. Actually, a simple physical sex will never bring any problems into your life. If you think it brings problem and you want to go beyond, always there are meditation techniques or the spiritual techniques to go beyond. One more important thing, sex is the most beautiful energy because it can be transformed. No other energy can be transformed that easily. No other energy can lead you to that high ecstasy even if it is transformed. Love or fear or worry or the comparison, all these emotions, they are not that deep in you. They are not that deep in you. Even if they are transformed, the effect of the transformation will not be that peak. You will not experience that peak. But the sex, just because of its depth, it leads you to the highest peaks. It's your life. It's your very life. So it can naturally lead you to the highest peak if it can be transformed. Two levels we can handle the sex. One, bringing it back to its natural level. Means removing the fantasies. Constantly decide very clearly, I am not going to mother the fantasies which are filling my being. Bring it back. Bring it back to its original form, physical. Let us handle physical problems physically. Do not make physical problems into mental problem and try to handle it. As on now, we made our physical problem into mental. Not a problem, physical emotion into mental. By adding so much of fantasies. Now, adding so much of fantasy, it becomes cerebral layer now. Your whole brain is filled with fantasies. We made the whole thing mental. Made the whole problem into mental. Too much of fantasies. So first decision I want you to take. Decide not to mother the fantasies. Understand? Not only the problems of lust. Actually, this is the root of all relationship problems. Almost all relationship problems starts from here. When you have too much of fantasy and you try to chisel the other person, and naturally you can't chisel the living being. Not only you can't chisel the living being, she is also carrying another one chisel and the hammer. She is standing with the chisel and the hammer, and you are standing with the chisel and the hammer. And both of you are standing with the chisel and the hammer. And the whole house is constantly filled with chiseling sound. When the depth of fantasy is more, you can't live with the real person. Real person will continuously look ugly. Really. With the depth of fantasy, real person will be looking really ugly. With the depth of fantasies, with too many layers of fantasies, in the house, 4 of you guys are living together. Your fantasy about your spouse. Your spouse's fantasy about you. 4 persons cannot live happily. Too much. 2 itself too much. And 4, how to live? That is why constantly the dissatisfaction, constantly you are feeling you are exploited. So you have your own fantasy and you try to fulfill your fantasy through her. And she has her own fantasy and she is trying to fulfill her fantasy through you. They tried to reduce the number of people in the house from 4 to 3 by not letting fantasies into women. But now in the modern day, it became the women's freedom movement. Of course, I am not agreeing that they should not have fantasy, or all I am saying is both should not have. Slowly, the freedom movement, naturally now they have their own freedom. Freedom means what? To do whatever men are doing. So naturally they also accumulate enough of fantasies, and now 4 are living in the house, sometimes even 5, 6. Because sometimes you have fantasy about the same person, 2, 3 fantasies about the same person. 2, 3 different self-contradicting fantasies. You want that person to be in some way at some time, some other way in some other time. Completely opposite 2, 3 characters. Completely opposite 2, 3 personalities you are expecting from the same person. So naturally, the whole thing becomes chaos. Understand? The fantasies not only reduces sex to lust, and it creates enough of hell in your day-to-day life through all the relationship problems. All relationship problems are just because of the fantasy layer. This is in the normal sense. If you go a little deep, fantasy is responsible for seeing this God as the world. Please understand. Jagat, whatever you are seeing, is God. It appears as a world because of your fantasy. Without fantasy, what is will be seen as is. Please understand. The waking state now, what you see as the world is made out of the same stuff which you experience as the dream in the dream state. In the dream state, if you see this hall, if you see the same hall in the dream, in what stuff this hall is made, in the same stuff now also this hall is made. Please understand. The same wax, now this hall is made, and when you fall into the dream, again it's collapsed and made out of that same wax, this hall is made. Then when you fall into deep sleep, it just collapsed and it's available in the form of a big bunch of wax. That's all. One load of wax, that's all. When you are seeing this whole thing as a load of wax, it's called deep sleep state. When you see the same wax, maybe a little less frequency, you can call it dream state. A little different frequency, the same wax, the waking state. When you realize that wax is an energy, you are experiencing the fourth state, the enlightenment, God. Wax is seen as wax and the object because of your lust, fantasy. Please understand. If you just remove the fantasy, the same hall will not be seen as the same hall as you are seeing now. You may think, what do you mean, Swamiji? If you remove the fantasy, you will understand. The very things which you are seeing will be completely different, because the fear and greed on which your whole mind is strung, fear and greed as the pin on which the string diagram is done, that pins will become different. When the pins become different, the diagram will be different and you will see things differently. Understand? The same lust I am talking in the different angles. One, because you add fantasies into your being, not only adding, constantly mothering. One nice thing with fantasies, if you don't mother it 14 days, it will leave your system. Understand? I am giving you some of the important clicks. If you do not mother that fantasy for 14 days, for example, you may have a fantasy with some particular person or with some particular situation or background or act, something. If you do not mother that fantasy for 14 days, decide consciously, I am not going to mother that fantasy. Mother that fantasy means not going to entertain when it comes, including dream. Even in dream, if it comes up, I am going to consciously say, I am not going to mother you. Relax. Just for 14 days. If you don't mother any fantasy, it will just disappear. It will not come inside your inner space anymore at all. Please be very clear. When I say, I really mean. 14 days. Do not entertain even to fight with it. Just 14 days, enough. You will see the power or the influence of that fantasy on you will disappear. It will disappear. It's the first thing. Second thing, because of the fantasy only, you are constantly trying to fight with everybody. The constant irritation you are carrying, not only about your spouse, even about your kids, your parents, about everybody you carry a fantasy. Again, that fantasy is also stored in the same Mooladhara chakra. Even if you don't have fantasies with your spouse, your fantasies about your kids and parents can continue to disturb you, irritate you, can continue to disturb your Mooladhara chakra and continuously create problems inside you. So do not carry, do not mother fantasies about anybody, how they should be, how things should be. Do not mother. This is a second layer. Third layer, the world is seen as the world because of your deepest layer of fantasy. The deepest level, if you stop mothering the fantasies which are raising in you, even about the world, you will stop seeing the world as the world. Please understand, anything you see is because of the fantasies you mothered. Because of the fantasies you mothered. Anything, even this hall, if you see it's ugly or it is good, it's looking beautiful, anything you use, any idea you carry, it is nothing but your fantasy. So in the deeper level, dropping the fantasy will lead you to enlightenment itself. First, if you drop the fantasies, the first superficial level, your lust will come back to its original source of sex. Means you will become a normal human being. If you drop fantasies, the sex level, your day-to-day relationships, your day-to-day life will become more sweet. Actually, if you are aging gracefully, such a strong, intimate feeling with the other person will be there. You may not have physical relationship, but such a strong, intimate feeling connection and the respect for the other person will be there. The other person filled you. Other person was fulfilling you. The other person added something to you. Without fantasy, when you look at the other person, you will really feel the other person is divine. Other person will become sacred. The spouse will become sacred. Be very clear. Actually, if you are growing, if you are aging gracefully, the other person will look sacred. Feeling the other person sacred is the fulfillment of sex. And the next level, if you drop the deepest layer of fantasy, not only you will feel the other person, the whole world as sacred, divine, because you will not see the world as you are seeing now. It's a very deep level of the Mooladhara Chakra. 3 level. First, the superficial level, if you drop your fantasies, the fantasies which you are continuously acquiring from media, website, books, cassettes, TV, cinema, all these things, if you drop that, you will see your lust becomes sex, means physically you are enjoying. Your whole body feels fulfilled. Every pore of your skin feels ecstatic. When you are physically in the act, it is so deeply fulfilling. But if your whole energy is in the mind, fantasy, the physical act will never be fulfilling and the fantasy can never be fulfilled. It will constantly be an hangover in you. It will be a constant hangover. It will be a constant hangover. You will see you are trying to act out too many things through the body which can't be done. So the constant hangover or unfulfillment becomes part of you. The constant unfulfillment or hangover is what I call feeling low or depressed, dull in the young age itself. Actually, when the fantasies are dropped, physically you will feel you are light. Physically you will feel you are light. The people who see you walking, they will feel you are graceful. You will be physically light and alive. You can see very clearly your body is light. You are just floating. You are just floating. Even your movements will be so graceful. Physically people will feel you are moving in the breeze. You are just moving in the air. First layer. When you drop the superficial fantasies, your lust will become sex. You will become intense in the physical life, instead of always living cerebrally, mentally. Second thing, if you drop even that fantasies, in that layer, second layer fantasies, suddenly you will see all the relationship problems will disappear. The other person will look sacred. And third, when you drop deeper layer, you will see even the whole world will look divine and sacred. The world will not look as world. Very beautifully Upanishad says, just because of Kama, the Ishvara looks as Jagat. You project Jagat on Ishvara because of your karma. You project whatever you want to project on the screen because of your lust. Otherwise, the screen is a screen. Understand? This whole cosmos is painted on the conscious screen. Consciousness is the screen. Time is the paint. The Prakriti, nature is the painter. Because of lust, this painting continuously happens. When you look inside and ask, why is this painting? Suddenly you will realize there was never a painter and the painting and the paint. Only because of your lust, you were constantly seeing the painter, painting and the paint. You may think, me removing fantasies may create good relationship between me and my spouse. That I understand, logical. But how can that develop my view of this Anand Sabha and the world? Remove, you will see. You will see. Everything will add ecstasy to you. Everything will add joy to you. I tell you, intense lust without being directed to one object or genitals is what I call living enlightenment. Understand? I am defining living enlightenment. Intense lust, not directed to just genitals, which is directed to every pore of your body, and not directed to one person or the object, which is overflowing on everything, is living enlightenment. Now, when you add fantasy, you give direction to your lust. Means the blinkered horse. You give direction to it. It becomes genital. When it becomes genital, naturally, it is directed towards one person or one object, one situation. When it is reduced to one person, situation or object, you will feel deep unfulfillment. Even if you feel the fulfillment for at that time, you will feel you are bound by that person. Understand? Always when you are bound by somebody, you will enjoy, you will entertain a deep hatred and vengeance against that person, because that person is binding you. Unconsciously, you will constantly entertain vengeance and violence against that person, because that person is binding you. You are bound by that person. Your joy is dependent on somebody, means you will take revenge on that person. Be very clear. You will? So be very clear. When you are removing this layer and layer and layer of fantasies, you will see your lust becomes sex, means physically you become joyful. The act brings you tremendous satisfaction. Second thing, second important transformation will happen in you. Your relationship will become beautiful, very beautiful. Not only with your spouse, with everything. The third layer fantasy is removed. The whole thing will become divine, sacred. These are the ideas I want you to understand. Few ideas. Now, many times people ask me, Swamiji, my layer of fantasy is too much. Can I get rid of it? Never bother. Any amount it can be. It can be just burnt. After all, it is not there. Fantasy means what? Which is not there. Record of which is not there. So it's a lightlessness. Lightlessness is a darkness. So just bring one light. That's enough. See, we have so many other emotions. Worry, fear, comparison, love. All those emotions cannot physically move you. See the fantasy. This moment, physically you are ready. It can move your body. It can change your structure. It can change your dimension. It can change you. Means a strong energy. Deepest energy which you experience in your life is sex. The deepest cause which can move you is sex. Much more than money. Much more than money. Even money is a utility for sex. much more than money. It can move, means that strong energy. So if it is transformed, same way it can put you in that peak. God is the Sahasrara, sex is the Muladhara. It can just shift you to that corner, that end. I can say,
then,
only when you drop the fantasies, you retain the freedom to do what you want spontaneously. When you have fantasy, you have programmed your freedom and destroyed it. Now you will just repeat what you programmed yourself, what somebody else was doing. How you took the fantasy from him or her, from that person, you will just reproduce it. You will just repeat it. It means he is living through you, not you through you. Understand? So only by having freedom, having fantasy, you destroy your freedom. By dropping the fantasies, you will have your freedom.
Books by Paramahamsa Nithyananda. In the true spirit of Vedic tradition, more than 250 books of Paramahamsa Nithyananda are now available online for free. Access free library at lifeblissprograms.org/books.
When you suppress too much, anything suppressed will become reality in your dream. When your logic is imbalanced, that will become reality. If you are suppressing something strongly, if your logic is imbalanced, your logic can become imbalanced if you don't eat well, if you are tired. It's not that only the sleeping will imbalance your logic. Even when you are tired, you can see sometime when you are driving or when you are too tired and relaxing, you will not be sleeping, but you will be like a daydreaming. You will be daydreaming. In front of you, so many things will be happening. You know, you are aware, but you can't come out of those visions. So if you suppress something too much, naturally it will come out. When you are suppressed too much, when it comes out, it will be too tasty. That is why, actually, if you fast for 3 days, you will be feasting in the dream. Now just 3 days, you fast. You will be feasting in the dreams, and it will be too tasty. That's the basic nature of mind. Even in our anger, we are not pure. We are not authentic. Even in our lust, we are not pure. We are not authentic. Integrate your anger. Be authentic. Suddenly you will see anger leaves you. Lust leaves you. Understand? Anything, whether it is anger, guilt, lust, or pain, or fear, if you are not authentic with that emotion, with that energy, it will express it in a very perverted way. Very perverted way. All perversions, all mental disorders are just perverted or cerebral expressions, or disturbed, distorted expressions of these emotions. Understand? These emotions are power, energy to your being. You can see when you become angry, how energetic you become. Your whole body is alive. Every cell is just living. Your whole energy is alive. When you are filled with lust, you can see, when you are filled with lust, the fear won't be there. You won't have fear. No fear will be there. That is why, even knowing the laws of the country, people commit mistakes. They know the laws of the country, the laws of the society, they know everything. But fear will not have place when you are filled with lust. Because the lust is power, energy. If you are authentic with that energy, the energy will liberate you. Understand? the energy will liberate you. Because all these energies, the lust is Muladhara chakra, the base energy. Fear is second, Swadhisthana chakra. Worry, constantly brooding over, guilt is Manipura, third chakra. Each of these energies are base material for your energy centers. Each of these energies are worshipped as gods in our tradition. Understand? Each of these chakras are worshipped as gods in our tradition. We worship lust. We worship fear. Worshipping lust is the Shivalinga. See, our masters are so courageous to put the Shivalinga in the temple and worship, because the authentic energy, if you are authentic with your lust, you will be liberated. If you are authentic with your fear, you will be liberated. With any emotion, if you are authentic, you will be liberated. The main problem with us, we are not authentic with anything, constantly calculating. With any emotion, before expressing, you start calculating the after effects and side effects. If the after effect is going to be too serious, you just suppress it. If it is not going to be serious, you shout too much. One more thing, person who never looks into his problems, person who constantly believes he is integrated, person who thinks I am okay, person who is not ready to look into his problem will never be able to achieve the truth. Try to grind, try to polish, try to be honest with yourself. Integrating yourself, bringing honesty to yourself is the only way to remove the hypocrisy. Person who has removed the hypocrisy from the inner space will experience enlightenment. Ramakrishna says beautifully, integrating your inner chattering and your words spoken is enlightenment. You will be shocked. He says, just integrate your inner chattering and the words which you are uttering. Let both of them be integrated. You are enlightened. He says, Man muk ek karo. The mind and the words, inner chattering and the words, if they are connected, you are liberated. I tell you, to live in a body in which the inner chattering and the words are connected is heaven. Is heaven. No other pleasure can show you that ecstasy like living in a body where this inner chattering and the verbal words, spoken words are integrated. It is just pure ecstasy. It's a pure ecstasy. See, anger itself is not wrong. Lust itself is not wrong. But from where it comes, if it comes in an uncorrupted way, in a pure way, you will live it and live it.
Nitya Kriya, restoring Hatha Yoga to the world. A series of healing yogic processes revealed by Paramahamsa Nithyananda to care and cure for diseases and disorders. Practice Nitya Kriya and awaken your Kundalini energy. To find out more, visit www.nityananda.org/nitya-kriyas.
The real love or lust you carry in your body, if you live in your regular life, you will at least exhaust that and you will be free from it. You will be liberated. You will go beyond.
There is no animal other than human being which can be involved in sex, interested in sex till death, even in the wheelchair. Only human beings are cursed. For every animal, there is a season, body reproduces and settles down. In human life, there is no settling period. Don't you see? There is no settling period. There is no end. Because of the new component introduced in your life called mind. Mind can store the pictures. Even ordinary pictures it can store. What about porn? I tell you, humanity without pornography will be violence free. When you are infused with so much of passionate desire and you can't live it up as you see in the visuals through your body, the whole passion gets converted into violence and gets stored in your body. Passion gets recorded as violence in your body. Humanity suffers with so much of violence, whether it is domestic or country. Both violences are just because of porn. The worst suffering you can have in your life is having the mind which is still jumping when the body is not able to jump. If you understand what I am saying. In the old age, when your body can't do anything, if your mind is jumping, that is hell. That happens just because of pornography. If you want to be in hell in your old age, you can add pornography to your body. Like if you constantly add alcohol and smoking, how you are going to have physical illness in the old age? If you add pornography, you are going to have mental illness in the old age. It's a simple decision of your health. I am not teaching from the angle of morality, enlightenment, spiritual science. No. I am just telling you plain health facts. Porn will make you sick while you are young and when you become old. In both the ways. Have this deep insight. And it takes away the joy of the real persons in your life.
See, your mood swings will be based on your liver function. That is why early morning when you are out of bed, your mood will be different. In the noon, your mood will be different. In the night, your mood will be different. Means your thought pattern, mood swings are based on your liver functions. Anything which is out of your liver function is wrong knowledge. Please understand, any mood you go through, any knowledge you gain through the mood swings is wrong knowledge. It's like you are drunk and somebody is drunk, whatever he sees is wrong knowledge. So anything based on your pitta, means liver function, is wrong knowledge. See, that is why when you want the food, your feeling idea about food is different. After you finished eating, suddenly your mood, your idea about food is different. Same way with the lust. When you want the experience, your idea about the other person, your idea about the beauty, your idea about lust, everything is different. When you are finished, suddenly the idea about the other person, idea about the lust, idea about the act, everything is different. So knowledge based on your body hormones, same way taste, food or physical touch or anything, before having your idea is different, after having idea is different. It just changes. So anything based on the hormone, the pitta, is wrong knowledge. It is wrong knowledge.
So when the love happens in you, just be a pure love. That is why I am saying, the ability to live in utter insecurity, to go with the love, to go with the flow of the love, makes you experience the real love, real life. Please understand, even if you are attached to life too much, you will not be able to love completely. The love will not be an experience in you. I have seen people, when they are attached to the particular secured way of life, they kill love in them. They decide, no, if I say yes to love, the secure life is in danger. Love is wilderness. Sometimes when it comes, it really happens in you like a wildfire. It happens in you like a wildfire. When you enter into that wildfire, even if you experience an ordinary hormonal way, a lust, suddenly you will see that lust gets burnt. When the real love happens in you, even your hormonal feelings, lust, when it comes along with the love, pour it in that pure love. Even the hormonal torture, the ordinary sex, the need for ordinary physical pleasure, when it is poured into the love, it will be purified. It will just be completely be purified. Attachment to life does not let you to burn yourself in the love. The pure love takes you beyond life and death. I can say pure love is Jivan Mukti, living enlightenment.
Understand? When body fluids leave the body, concern emotions leave the system. Fear, suffering is associated with the tears, and when your nose runs, the mucus and the tears are directly connected to fear, shock and suffering. And your male or female hormone, the semen, is directly connected to lust and guilt. Self-torturing concepts are directly connected to sweat. So when those body fluids leave you, when you consciously go through those experiences, the emotions associated with those memories will leave your system. Understand this one key. You will not be bound by any emotion. All emotion is nothing but a little bit of liquid added to your body. If you take out that liquid, emotions will disappear. You understand this truth, you can solve not just this problem, all problems. All your problems, all your emotional sufferings and emotional clots are nothing but a little bit of liquid in your body. So many things you do and repent later on just because of the little bit of male hormone in the body. So many decisions you make when that hormones are high in your body. Just that little bit of liquid, when it is removed from your body, your whole strategy is different now. Your whole concept of life is different now. Your whole ideas and decisions are different now. I tell you, liberate yourself from this liquid mentality. The liquid based mentality. This is what is pratyahara. Understand? Pratyahara means not being forced to take any decision by body fluids. Anger, lust, fear, greed, attention. Please understand, attention need is not male hormones action, it is female hormones action. For male hormone, it's a lust. For female hormone, it is attention need. That is why male want to get rid of the lust quickly, because it's like a prison. Female want to relax into it, because it's like a AC room. There's a big difference between the male's need and the female's wants. And same way, every body fluid is associated with one strong emotion. I tell you, know, learn how to handle, make decisions independent of your body fluids. You will live a solid life. You will live a fulfilling life. Sometimes people become so unconscious. When lust comes, they respond with anger. When lust comes, if you respond with romance, you are at least in your natural state. When lust comes, if you respond with anger to your lust, you are in perverted state. When your anger comes, you respond in a romantic way. No. These are all the unconscious patterns. Phobias are pseudo fear, perverted fear, like how pornography is perverted lust. Phobias are perverted fears. Never pornography lust can be transformed because it is perverted. It is impossible to transform it. Nor the phobias can be cleared because it is perverted, impossible to clear. Almost only working on your non-mechanical parts of the brain and the inner space, you can be free of this. By the mode of the material nature, you are driven by fear and greed. Mature your biomemory, then liberate yourself from the fear and greed. Before maturing your biomemory, if you try to escape from fear and greed, you will create unnecessary phobias. The lower three chakras are physical experience. To conquer the lower three chakras, you need to prepare the body, not mind. But unfortunately, you try to constantly prepare the mind and fail. The top three, attention need, jealousy and ego. For this, you need to prepare mind, because they are mental experiences. But the lust, fear and confusion, means worrying, these three are physical experiences. You just need to keep your stomach clean and light.
Nithyananda Radio Podcast, Life Solutions on the Go, with enlightening and entertaining segments each week in the form of breakthrough talks, meditation techniques, interviews, and more. Nithyananda-radio.podomatic.com.
See, here is asking, animals don't get married and live a free life. Why should we get married and suffer? Is there anything that is in a marriage that is not provided for animals? Yes. Yes. Animals take birth as polygamous and die as polygamous. Human being, in seed, in potential form, when he is taking birth, he is polygamous, but he should not die as polygamous. He should become monogamous. Understand, that is what is maturity. Suddenly you will see, when you start growing inside you, the deep friendliness liberates you from lust. A deep friendliness will completely replace the need for lust. It's a very important sutra. Usually in marriage, a deep hatred replaces the lust. Understand, a deep hatred starts replacing the need for lust. But the truth is, a deep friendliness can replace the need for physical relationship. After 10 years of living together, the deep friendliness, if it grows, suddenly you will see the need for the physical relationship comes down, tapers down. So I really feel the marriage system has something to contribute. At least our masters had something in their heart when they created this system of family. So surely marriage system has something to add to you than the animal life. I can say deep friendliness, I can say it's like the physical relationship is more like confirming whether the other person is still in need of me, or still the other person wants me, or still the other person loves me or not. If that guarantee, the confirmation, the other person is in love with you, the other person really needs you, the other person will miss you, the other person loves you. If that confirmation, that security settles down in both hearts, suddenly you will see the need for physical relationship comes down. I can say that is what is the gift of that is what is the fruit which you are supposed to have from the proper marriage system. I can say that is the thing which animals cannot experience. A polygamous man can never experience this. Polygamous man can never experience what I am saying, that guarantee, insurance, the other person loves you, will never be experienced by a polygamous person. If you experience that, you lived a pure, fulfilling life. Looking with love and looking with lust are two different things. When you see a beautiful man or woman, when you look, you only look what I can get out of that person. Then it is looking with lust, not with love. Love means what I can add to that person, what way I can be of some help to that person. If you decide or think of adding something, then it's looking with love. The moment you see and you start calculating what I can get out of that person, it is looking with lust. Understand, looking with love, looking with lust, two different things. Not only two different things, diametrically opposite. Diametrically opposite. Look lovingly at some object. If you use the divine objects, it is lot more easy, because the possibility of lust is less. Possibility of love is more. From the young age you are taught to look with a love and respect. So it is easy to connect. It is easy to relate. Have any one deity or the photograph of the God or Guru. Try to look with a deep love without moving to the other object. Understand? That is the main. That is the basic thing. Do not move to the other object. The moment you start jumping to the other object, you are tired of this object. The love has disappeared. Understand?
As long as love is there, that object is unique, not number. Love makes things unique. Love makes things unique. If you are a number, you can be replaced. If the love, element of love comes to play between you and the other person, you are no more a number. You are unique being, irreplaceable, unique being. Love adds life even to the person. With love, the person is a spirit, life. Without love, the person is reduced to a thing, utility. Without love, when you look at somebody, a beautiful man or woman, and planning for what I can get out of that person, you are reducing him to a thing, not as a being, as a spirit. Only when you look at that person with a love, he is a spirit, he is a living being. When that love is not there, he is a thing. That is why whenever people look at you with a lustful eyes, you feel repulsive. It looks ugly. You just cover yourself. You just hide yourself. You want to move out of that place. Whenever somebody looks at you with a deep love, you just feel like being around that person continuously. Even if you get only one glimpse, one eye contact with him, you will be waiting for it. You will be just waiting for that one contact. Just waiting for that one glimpse, one look. It's a love which adds value to the uniqueness.
You all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate, share and explode in eternal bliss. Nithyananda.
Nithyananda Dhyanapitham, Nithyananda Nagar, off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bangalore, 562109. Contact 097422033311. www.nithyananda.org. www.youtube.com/lifeblissfoundation.
Welcome to Inner Awakening, the most powerful personal transformation retreat you could ever experience. In just 21 days, thousands are already experiencing the shortest route to constantly high energy levels, visible anti-aging, healing of chronic diseases, fulfilling relationships, and higher states of consciousness. What is the secret behind this transformation?
Kundalini means the inner potential energy. Once it is awakened, opens the different doors for the conscious experience in you. I can say which is a master key for all extraordinary spiritual experiences.
This extraordinary program is conducted personally by Paramahamsa Nithyananda in the vibrant atmosphere of Nithyananda Dhyanapitham Ashram. Open yourself to the benefits of Nitya Yoga and practical meditation. Experience physical and mental healing. Discover simple ways to handle life with success. Above all, enjoy individual darshan and blessings from Paramahamsa Nithyananda every day. Take 21 days for yourself and carry home the transformation of a lifetime.